All Saints Wake Crier. Hello there, Pumpkin. Enjoying the festivities, I hope. If there's anything you'd like to know, just ask away. What is All Saints Wake? Legend has it that once a year, the 12 honor the saints by hosting a lavish feast in the heavens. While the saints are away, however, the realm is bereft of their divine protection, and creatures of darkness come out in droves. Fearing for their lives, the people took to shutting themselves inside their homes. Those who had no choice but to venture outside disguised themselves as fiends, in hopes that they would go unnoticed by the real ones. Frightening business, isn't it? But that's all in the past now. For these days we have valorous adventurers like you to keep our city safe when the saints are away. Having no more reason to be afraid, the people went and turned All Saints Wake into a fun celebration. A truly detestable, delightful state of affairs. Who are you? We're a terrific troop, raised under the auspices of the pumpkin-headed lady. With us at the helm, All Saints Wake is said to be a fright-filled fest for all and sundry. We've prepared all manner of exciting events that are guaranteed to delight and affright. So why not take a brief respite from the daily grind of adventuring and join in the festivities? The Ether-starved Ahriman. The pumpkin-headed apparition is on the lookout for an able adventurer. Pumpkin-headed apparition, hee hee. It's been more than a few moons since last we met, friend. As it so happens, I have a proposition suited to your talents. Are you prepared to throw caution to the wind and consort with fiends most foul once again? Of course you are. But before we get to the heart of the matter, let us reflect upon the history of All Saints Wake. On this night, two fell fiends emerged to cavort and careen, unconcerned with the judgments of those on high. But the halls of the saints' heavenly abode ring with merriment as the wine flows freely, and no one can be bothered to look down. Thus did God's fearing folk greet this particular sunset with trepidation, daring not to venture from their homes. No longer. Nay, for adventurers came and drove out the void scent, restoring safety to the city's streets and marking the occasion as one of jubilation. That's all well and good, but what of the poor forsaken fiends? Are they too not deserving of revelry? My wish is to see All Saints Wake reborn as a celebration for all, be they ghost, ghoul, Gridanian, or otherwise. And how do I propose to accomplish this feat? Binding obligations, friends. I've convinced the more sinister sorts to enter into contracts which forbid them from preying on mortals. In exchange, they are permitted to partake in the festivities. But there's one troubled soul who still seems incapable of getting into the spirit of things. Perhaps you'd be willing to give them a helping hand? Nothing too devilishly difficult, I promise. Before you get started, you'll want to get a grasp of the particulars by speaking with Papa Gruff. He ought to be performing one of his shows by the entrance to the Great Loom Growery. Now go. I shall be watching your performance with great interest. Hehehe. Seek out Papa Gruff near the entrance to the Great Loom Growery. I dare say you'll find him in the midst of one of his performances. And remember, I shall be watching. Hehehe. Is it Great Loom or Great Loam? It's loam. Loam, a fertile soil of clay and sand containing humus? Looks like hummus, but it can't be hummus. What's humus? Humus. The organic components of soil formed by the decomposition of leaves and other plant material by soil microorganisms. Great Ohm Growery. Okay. Papagraph. Although it pains me so, our humble performance must draw to a close. Let us then end things on a high note. Ladies and gentlemen, I bid you feast your eyes on the fantastic Phil Cox and his transformation magics. Disappointed youth. What was all that about? The clowning and whatnot was a right laugh, but that last bit was bleeding rubbish. Come on, let's get out of here. I forgot to take my helmet off. Whoa. Papagraph. Once more you fail to muster up even an ounce of magical prowess. I had the crowd in the palm of my hand. We'd have been the toast of the town if not for your blunder. Belligerent fiend. There you go again, shrieking the same old tune. I've had it up to my eyeball with this farce. Just because you know a few cheap tricks doesn't give you the right to treat me like that. I can't stand the sight of you, let alone the thought of taking to the stage with you again. Good riddance. Gruff. Well, well. Fate has conspired for us to cross paths once again. Out with it, then. I know you're not here to swap pleasantries. A foul fiend failing to get into the spirit of All Saints' Wake. I'd wager you speak of Phil Cox, the fellow who stormed off in a huff. Like most of our ilk, Phil Cox and I have an insatiable appetite for ether, but unlike your garden variety voidsent who hunts hapless mortals like beasts, we prefer to sate our hunger with their enthusiastic approval. I tell you, there's no ether as delectable as you'll find in food gifted in genuine appreciation, which set me to thinking. Perhaps preying on mortals was an old-fashioned and misguided approach. Thus did I commit to giving folk the sort of frights that dazzle and delight, winning hearts and minds, and in the process no small number of ether-laden delicacies. And what better occasion for such terrifying amusements as All Saints' Wake? The method is catching too. Many voidsents now seek ether in this manner. Phil Cox is one such reformed individual. When I first laid eyes upon him, I sensed promise. But get him in front of a crowd and you're lucky to get a smattering of half-hearted applause, let alone a few measly crumbs. You'd be better off hearing it from the Ahriman's mouth, though. You can't have gotten far. Where's he going? Wilcox. That sniveling whelp of an imp. Magic's this, magic's that. The sheer unbridled cheek of it. Wilcox is practically frothing at the mouth. So incensed is he by his treatments at the hands of Papa Gruff. You must soothe him before attempting to start a conversation. Can't he see the effort I put in, day out? Yet still he cracks the whip. Yo, calm down. Wilcox, apologies. I had taken leave of my senses. Your timely intervention is much appreciated. Wait, by the look of you, I'd say you're an adventurer. Let me guess. That pumpkin-headed lady sent you to check up on me, did she? I suppose it wouldn't hurt to tell you my tale. Try as I might, I just can't get the hang of transformation magics, and without the means to delight the crowds, we're starved for appreciation. I'm an Ahriman, paralyzing prey with this big eye of mine, not a problem. Turning them to stone with a petrifying glare, a trifling task. Else, I can even smell despair and all manner of negative emotions in the people around me. Obviously, paralysis and petrification won't win over an audience, and my metaphorical nose for despair isn't going to put either on the table either. I ought to just tell that pumpkin-headed lady I'm not cut out for this business. If you're here at her behest, you'd better come too. Wilcox, that about sums it up. I gave it my all, and have naught to show for it. Which is to say, I've come to the conclusion that I will never be an entertainer. Pumpkin-headed apparition. Hehe. I gather you had a hand in Wilcox's decision to lay bare his thoughts and feelings? Wilcox. Not that it did any good. I'm still stuck at square one, underappreciated and underfed. Pumpkin-headed apparition. Hehehe. Such a curious child. Are you truly so blind to your own potential? No doubt you have an inkling as to what I speak of. Pray share your wisdom with Wilcox. You can smell dark emotions. Use your gift to help those in need. Stamp out any negativity you sense within the common folk. Sure, let's go with the first one. Wilcox. Well, you'd be hard-pressed to find a voidsent who'd suggest that. I don't see how helping others helps me. But then again, I know little of mortal ways, so perhaps I should heed your advice. Ah, wait. I see the logic in it now. What better way to make use of my talents and knock that pompous Papa Gruff right off his pedestal? No. I'm getting ahead of myself. I have no idea where to start. Pumpkin-headed apparition. He. Perhaps I can lend a hand with a little sleight of hand. Hold still. Nice. Not only is that get-up guaranteed to turn heads, each and every thread is imbued with a potent magic to aid in your newfound purpose. Wilcox, Oh, you know, I think I can feel it. Maybe this isn't going to be so tough after all. Papa Gruff. There you are. You know, I had thought to apologize for my harsh words earlier, since our act was my initiative and therefore our success, or lack thereof, was ultimately my responsibility. But I sense that you've been scheming. Wilcox. It pleases me to inform you, Papa Gruff, that I've found a way to win over mortals on my own terms. Papa Gruff. I find that hard to believe. But since you seem so confident, why don't we have ourselves a contest? Whoever garners the most affection, and thereby the largest share of ether-rich victuals, wins. And to the victor go the spoils of subservience. The loser will be bound to obey their every whim. How does that sound? Wilcox, you're on. I hope you're ready to bow and scrape. Papa Gruff. That mortal epithet about one's bark being worse than one's bite comes to mind. Prepare yourself, Wilcox. Wilcox. I know I've got this marvelous magic outfit, but I'm still not entirely convinced I have what it takes to beat Papa Gruff on my own. Come with me, just until I get the hang of things. That's all I ask. Pumpkin-headed apparition. Very well. I shall leave Wilcox in your capable hands. He he he. Pumpkin-headed apparition. Hee hee hee. I trust you will do everything in your power to assist Wilcox in his endeavors. All fiends sated on All Saints' Wake. After a nudge in the right direction, Wilcox is ready to embark on his mission. Wilcox, how about we try and find a troubled soul in need of aid? But let's get out of here first. Wilcox. Right. Time to look for folk harboring negative feelings. Give me a moment. I don't know if it has anything to do with that pumpkin-headed lady's enchantment, but my powers feel more potent than ever. I've already found someone, and whoever they are, they're awfully flustered. They're to the northeast, I think, though I'm not sure where exactly. The roads here can be confusing. Truth be told, this is my first time in the city. I've got a decent sense of direction, but I've yet to grasp the lie of the land. Could I trouble you to lead the way? Our flustered target is northeast of here. I'll be right behind you. Say, did I tell you that Wilcox is just an alias? The pumpkin-headed lady suggested I use it to better engage with you mortals. My real name is actually... what does it matter? It's not like we'll see each other again when this is over and done with. Maybe I'll see you next year. Discuss the delighted woman. Wilcox. Ah, such glee. They mentioned a clown. I'd wager they've just had the privilege of seeing one of Papa Gruff's performances. Listen, I'll be the first to admit that he's an expert illusionist, and you've only got to look at folk like these ladies to see that he knows how to work a crowd. But I won't be upstaged. I'll prove there's more than one way to win over an audience. By following your timely advice, that is. Given the delight written on their faces, our opponent must have earned himself some sustenance, which means we've no time to lose. Onward. Flustered fellow. Oh gods, where has she gotten to? Wilcox. Ah, this must be the fellow my senses were leading me to. Shall we find out what ails him? You there, what's gotten you so worked up? Flustered fellow. Oh, forgive me. There was this poor little girl who'd been separated from her mother. I was helping her to look, but she suddenly disappeared. Can't simply abandon her. But then again, I have an urgent personal matter to attend to, and I don't know what to do. Wilcox, in that case, why don't I and my associate look for the girl? Then you can see to your affairs without worry. Flustered fellow. Thank you, thank you. She's a young lass dressed in blue. I hope you're able to find her forthwith. Wilcox. He certainly was appreciative. Yet here I am, empty-handed. Ah, forget the food. We have a lost child to find. Yes, let's eat the child. I'm detecting a despairing presence to the east of here. Odds are it's the girl, which means I have need of your navigational nous once again. Off to you. It's a new word. Nous? Nous. Common sense, practical intelligence. Nous. It is a noun. Common sense, practical intelligence, or to philosophy, the mind or intellect. Your navigational nous. Huh. Interesting word. After you. Papa Graf. I should have known you'd turn up sooner or later. I thought this would be a fine opportunity to accrue some appreciation, but the poor little girl is beside herself. She keeps calling out for her mama. Might I enlist your help? Wilcox, this must be the lost lass we've been looking for. If we want to earn her thanks, we'll need to reunite her with her mother, wouldn't you say? Which means we now have a lady to locate. Any suggestions? Use your senses to search for someone feeling anxious. Why don't you try coming up with an idea yourself? ... Use your senses to search for someone feeling anxious. Ah, you're saying that the mother will be worried about her daughter having gone missing. Brilliant. This is exactly why I had you accompany me. Right then. found her. I don't know which is the bigger boon, having you by my side, or this fancy finery. I think I've learned my way around the city, more or less. I'll handle this next part on my own. Wait here. I'll be back with the girl's mother in no time. Ellison mother, 12 be praised. You're safe. You have my eternal gratitude. Formerly distressed damsel. Thanks for finding my mom, mister. Philcox, do you believe me now, Papa Gruff? Sweet, sweet appreciation, and all courtesy of my special talents. Papa Gruff, I can't help but notice they didn't offer you anything edible by way of thanks. For my part, I have already been rewarded with a tasty morsel. That said, the gift of food is far from guaranteed. Indeed, perseverance is key, which is why I find myself performing show after show. I suggest you approach this contest with the same tenacity, Philcox. Philcox, I'm afraid he's right. Constant effort is key. Luckily, I sensed another troubled soul while I was tracking down the girl's mother. I'd better see what I can do to help. You know, I think I'm ready to go it alone now. Why don't you let our pumpkin-headed benefactor know? I'll come and find you when I'm done. Papa Gruff. Well, I'm afraid my next performance calls. Until we meet again, adventurer. Pumpkin-headed apparition. Hee, the adventure returns, and at the precise moments I predicted. I do hope keeping Philcox company wasn't too taxing. What's of our fiend and his endeavors? You have my thanks, surely. Ah, speak of the devils. Here they come. Papa Gruff. Dear, oh dear. That turned out to be a damn sight harder than I'd anticipated. And all I have to show for my travails is a single cookie. To think the first gift I'd receive would prove to be the last. Philcox. Curses. I didn't receive so much as a crumb. I suppose this means you win. Very well, I am yours to command, Papa Gruff. Pumpkin-headed apparition. Hee. You admit defeat far too readily, Philcox. Formerly distressed damsel. Hooray, we found you. I wanted to thank you properly for helping me and Mama. I brought you a pumpkin cookie. Cookie. Nice. Philcox. Simply scrumptious. Nice. Cool explosion. Formerly distressed damsel. Hee hee. I'm glad you like it. Farewell. Papa Gruff. That makes it 1 apiece. A draw then. Still, Philcox. While you had some assistance along the way, you've nevertheless done yourself proud. Philcox. To think I'd lived to see the day Papa Gruff sings my praises. Awfully kind of you to finally admit that I might have worth. Papa Gruff. Is that all you desire? My begrudging acceptance? Have you forgotten your reasons for joining in the festivities in the first place? Philcox. Of course I haven't. The good people of Gridania are still in need of my help. And where there are common folk in need, there are cookies to be freed. And, given to me. Adventurer, I had better get going. But before I do, let me say this. I might have found a way to make the most of my talents, but I wouldn't have been able to do so without you and the pumpkin-headed lady. I'm sure we'll run into each other again one of these days. Till then... Papa Gruff. The promise I sensed in Philcox when he and I first met wasn't illusory after all. I should take my leave too. 'Twould be remiss of me to allow him to garner all the glory. To say nothing of the cookies. Pumpkin-headed apparition. Hee hee. I'd say those two fiends ended up having themselves a frightfully fun-filled All Saints' Wake. Wouldn't you agree? And for your part in this, a fitting reward. I present to you a set of finery, as worn by Gridania's most emotionally perceptive Ahriman. Perhaps you wonder if your outfit is endowed with the same enchantment? You needn't worry. There never was an enchantment. Hee hee hee. That little charade was my way of giving Philcox the confidence he so sorely lacked. Although, I dare say such a measure was unnecessary, given he had you to cheer him on. Before I forget, you are hereby cordially invited to my humble abode for a get-together of sorts. Do drop by. I assure you it will be frightfully entertaining. Anyway, your help is much appreciated. At this rate, my vision of an All Saints' Wake for mortals and void-sent alike might not be such a distant prospect. Though I do hope that these shenanigans haven't dulled your enthusiasm for this most occult of occasions. Sweet. You now have access to Sneaky Hollow. Speak with the unusual usher at Miketo's amphitheater to be escorted to the costume party. The little fiends in life. Oh, Papa Gruff. As you can see, I'm having no trouble earning myself a cookie or two. Now, if you don't mind, I'm in the middle of a show. Do me a favor and go bother Philcox instead. Sure, where is he? I don't see him. Oh, there he is. Philcox. Lost my coin purse, you see. Philcox. Oh, it's you. I'm definitely starting to get the hang of this whole helping mortals lark. Else, I think I'm enjoying myself. Nice. Become an adventurer like me. Genial geyser. The haunted manor is now accepting guests for the marvelous masquerade. Shall I escort you to the front door? Wait, what's the difference between him and the unusual usher? Haunted manor? Should you wish to visit my master's residence, it would be my pleasure to escort you. Sneaky Hollow. Oh, that's the, okay, manor thing, I think. Let's see if they added some new NPCs. Probably. Pumpkin-headed apparition. You wish to have words? Very well, what would you know? Ah, that's crap. Alright, fine. Who are you? You need ask? My head is not merely for show. I am the archfiend feared and revered since time immemorial, the great Gord, who once led legions of darkness. Is, in fact, merely a title held by those in my coven. Each generation, the knowledge to control denizens of the void is passed down alongside the appellation. What is this place? Is your memory as fleeting as your lifespan, child? As I told you before, this is my home. You are welcome to come and go as you please. What is it that you do exactly? I watch. My ancestors once bound the Voidsent to their will as a means to wage war, and caused irreparable harm to the world in so doing. Remorseful for their actions, they swore to never be complicit in such tragedy again. We have watched ever since. Our goal is not to harm the minions of darkness, but to educate them, show them that peace is an option. But I have spoken enough. I had not realized entertaining a guest could be quite so thrilling. Okay. Any new ones? Let's end Walker. Meh. That shall do it.